Wandering Winder here, once again looking at Dominion openings. Today I want to look at the top card in the Odyssey pile, which is Old Map. So, Old Map, 3 cost action, obviously an Odyssey. Um, you cantrip and then you reverse sift. It's akin to what they call rummaging in Magic. Discard a card and then draw a card. And then you get to rotate the Odysseys, which I'm not really going to analyze in purposes of the opening, but obviously the option to do it is only upside. I think there's a couple of different things that we might want to consider when we're talking about openings with old maps. So the first, and perhaps not the most obvious, but straightforward, would be opening old map, old map. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, you might think to do this if you don't want to add stop cards to your deck because you're trying to keep your deck thin, but you still want to do something for your deck. I think it's worth noting that if we draw, if we want to play both the old maps, we're going to trigger a shuffle, like we just saw in the middle of turn 4, which is not great for calculating exactly what's going to happen, but also potentially not great in general in terms of the timings of when you're wanting to shuffle. So in terms of the calculations and the math, what I've done is just calculated what are the chances I'm going to hit 5 on turn 3 exactly, because that's the big upside case for opening double old map, which is if you're able to hit 5 on turn 3, then you are favorably triggering a shuffle when you play the next old map on turn 4, or just, draw your hand for turn 4 if you've already played both old maps. So, long story short, the overall chances of hitting 5 on turn 3 if you've opened old map, are 26.6%, which is pretty bad. Obviously, you have to keep in mind that compared to silver, this is only 1 turn instead of 2. But even if you double that, you're looking at 53%, which is, it's a lot better than opening nothing, but it's pretty bad. So I generally wouldn't recommend this. I also want to note that if for whatever reason you are in this situation, where you have open double old map, and you get to this hand where there's 4 coppers and an old map in it, you are significantly more likely to hit 5 by pitching the old map, which gives you a 50-50 chance, than you would be by pitching a copper, which gives you a 20% chance. And yeah, you can wind through all that math yourself. If you play more old maps, you keep the old map, you still have to draw a copper on your last. So here I just needed to draw a copper 50-50, right? Otherwise I would have still needed to draw a copper off my last draw off the last old map, but also not draw too many estates before then, and those are not independent anyway. Just trust me, you probably want to pitch the old map and not the copper there, at least if you're trying to hit 5. Should say if you're not trying to hit 5, then all bets are off. But yeah, so that's a thing to know. But just the low overall chances of hitting 5 are going to make it to where I typically wouldn't recommend this double old map opening unless you just really, really need to not add silvers. And hitting 5 quickly isn't that important, although even then I'd be pretty skeptical. If there's some other cheaper price point you want to hit, then fine. But if there's a cheaper price point you want to hit, maybe open that thing instead of one of your old maps, right? So you could go old map remake, and that's probably a fine opening in a bunch of cases. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying specifically the double old map, I don't think is going to be good very often. But let's also look at old map silver. So old map silver has the nice property that if uh, if your old map doesn't miss the shuffle, which it did here, but if it wouldn't have, right, we'd be playing the old map, discarding a card, and drawing a card, then discarding a card and drawing a card, right? So you play old map, and it draws you two, and then you have to discard one, which happens in the middle between those draws. So you would get to the end of your shuffle. So just in terms of like playing a 5 cost, if we wanted to, if we were buying a mountebank or something, we wanted to play it faster. We've cycled through 2 further cards here in comparison um, to if we'd gone silver silver. It's kind of like the silver moat opening in that way. And unlike moat or most of the draw twos, old map is non-terminal. So if what you're heading for is a terminal 5 cost, this has some appeal to it. In fact, the only way you're going to miss 5 opening silver old map is, well, one, if the old map misses, then you could hit 4-4, or if the silver also misses 4-3. So that's one way. The other way is if you play the old map, and then after playing the old map, your hand is 5 coppers. You have to discard one of those, and then if you draw an estate, you could miss 5 that turn, and in that case, you're going to hit 4-4, having discarded a copper. But still, overall, old map silver is just a hair's breadth over 93% to hit 5. It's not good at hitting 6 though, because yeah, just like the turn you play the old map, it's not super likely to hit 6, and yeah, you're feeling the lack of the other silver for just a little bit of additional oomph. So you're only 27.77777777777% to hit 6, right? If you go old map silver, so it's not like completely awful, but it's markedly worse than opening silver silver, right? You're like losing out on a third of your chances. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. I think old map is a reasonable open with silver, or with some other card that's doing something for you, possibly a thinner because you get through it faster, or just some other economic card, particularly if it's not drawing to trigger the shuffle on turn 3. Then old map is a pretty reasonable opening, particularly if you're going to want it, if for whatever reason you're going to want it to rotate stuff later. Yeah, I think that's all I have for the old map opening. So thanks for watching, everyone.